I like your hat.
Thanks. I got it for my years of service at DC Universe.
Was that all you got to do to get that hat?
Yeah, you got to work there for 2 years, then they give you a hat.
Oh, fair.
Wow. I would go down a dark path for that hat.
Yeah. It's a nice hat.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we are joined by... God, my brain is broken right now. I think I've had too many gins already.
Just read this.
I know, but I didn't. I tried to go off script. That was a mistake.
That'll teach you.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
That was good. Really killed the energy, though.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
Today we are joined by DC Comics columnist. It's been a long day, man. All right.
You want me to take this?
DC Comics columnist Alex Jaffe. Thank you for joining us, Alex.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah.
It's not often that I put my ego aside and invite someone on that knows more about this than
Say,
I
hey,
do.
you fucked up too.
I know, it's contagious.
Well, let's see if I don't destroy that illusion over the course of this recording.
I've certainly destroyed my own illusion of it. So
We've also allowed the fans to ruin that for us
yeah,
as well.
that's true. Yeah. No, we're so happy to have you here. For those who may not be familiar, do you want to let people know what does it mean to be a columnist for DC?
For the past 2 years, I've written regularly for the news section of the DC Universe streaming service that's now been folded into DCComics.com as the subscription service has relabeled itself as DC Universe Infinite. Mm-hmm. I used to manage the online encyclopedia they had on the history of every character. I host weekly trivia in the community, and my proudest achievement is the now in its second year Ask the Question weekly, now monthly feature where listeners write in their most challenging and obscure and granular questions about the history and breadth of the DC universe, and I do my best to answer them, not unlike what you do here.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
which is so cool. I mean, it's right in my wheelhouse. I love that stuff. Yeah. How did you come into that role? Because it's beyond. I mean, I know they probably have research resources and all these things, but it is a little bit beyond just a writing gig. Was there a skill testing question? Was like,
what happened was when I was the kind of nudnik who was demanding that DC put out some kind of subscription model for years before DC Universe started.
Right.
So when they finally did it, and there was a community attached, I was one of the first people to join it. Right. And knowing that there were a lot of beginners on there who were kind of wading into DC for the first time, I started the thread like, "Hey, ask me anything about DC Comics, and I'll answer it for you." And eventually the moderators saw what I was doing. It's like, we got to start paying this guy to do this. And that's how I got there.
That's awesome.
Just right place, right time.
Wow.
I love that. That's really cool. It's cool that it kind of starts just from like the community and then,
Yeah. And I'm the only person that has ever worked for. So if you're listening, don't try it. That door is now closed.
I will say definitively, it's never worked for me.
Right.
You tried.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more aggressive about it.
That's true.
There's a quote I really love from Kelly Sue DeConnick, where she said that breaking into the world of comics is like breaking out of prison. Every time someone figures out one way to do it, they seal it up.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's that's a pretty good axiom. I think
I like that a lot.
So obviously, big DC fan, a lot of DC knowledge, and all that kind of stuff. But how did you? And I know what we're talking about today, you have said was sort of part of your early love of the big DC universe.
Oh yeah.
But comics in general where did you start? Were you always a DC person? Did you start somewhere else?
When I was 3 years old, my dad gave me a collector's anthology of old Captain Marvel stories.
Ooh.
And I grew up learning to read on that.
Wow.
Then I started collecting the Trial of Superman arc a few years later. You might remember Alpha Centurion was in there, everybody's favorite Superman supporting character, Alpha Centurion.
Yeah, where's he these days?
Yeah. I think he showed up in Lobdell's Teen Titans or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't really start getting into it until I fell in love with like the DC animated universe, like a lot of millennial DC fans, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. I followed all those shows. Eventually I got to Justice League Unlimited. I saw this weirdo in a trench coat and a hat just challenging Superman and Lex Luthor. Like, who the hell is this guy? Right. And I followed that into the comics. That got me into 52, which was kind of my gateway into the wider DC universe.
That's wild. I mean, especially because Jeffrey Combs just does such a good job voicing the Question. He's like
iconic.
He's one of my favorite, I think, TV actors ever. I've been going through a lot of Star Trek rewatches over the last little bit. He's obviously in everything, but I love him as the Question. Yeah,
he got paid twice for one Star Trek episode because he played two characters in it, right?
Yeah,
really?
Right,
yeah.
Wow. Well, he plays so many, and he was also like multiple Wayun clones in DS9, and
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so cool. So 52 got you in. You've got a big love for the Question.
Sure.
Do you have, let's say, Question aside, who are kind of like your big kind of favorite characters, the ones you love to see, the ones where you must be there when the issue comes out?
Lady Shiva.
Lady Shiva.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm a huge Lady Shiva fan.
Yeah. Was that again because of the like her role in the Question series?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely how it started, because I kind of went backwards. I went from Justice League Unlimited to 52 to the Question.
Right.
Which maybe I'll talk a little bit about more, that 52 is kind of like the death of King Arthur to the Question's Legend of King Arthur.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to see my girl Cassandra Cain, because I spread from Shiva to her. I'm a big Sandman fan, so anytime Neil Gaiman pops out another Sandman thing, that's what I jump into.
How excited for that show are you for you?
I was skeptical, but after seeing all the care that went into the Audible series, I am now more convinced that this is going to be properly managed.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, all of the things that I've read, the interviews with Gaiman and that, like, I don't see a reason not to be excited for it.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Although for a long time, I think that project was sort of a thing that had the same sort of specter about it as Watchmen did for a long time, which is like, good luck adapting that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They used to say the two things you could never adapt were Watchmen and Sandman.
Yeah. And now they'll have done both. So take that, random people.
Well, they used to say the two characters you'd never see alive again were Jason Todd and Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true too. Well, I mean, we got a bunch of questions about
Speaking
52.
of the Question.
And 52 is such a massive series.
Oh yeah.
I feel we should just get right into it. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the weekly series that spun right out of Infinite Crisis that bridges the 1 year gap. Let's get into those questions.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Well, first we're gonna go over to Twitter.
That's Twitter.
First question comes from Braydon. Yes, the donkey rises. Who asks, there was a secret message in one of the columns in the back of one of the issues. Was this picked up on when it was coming out, or just learned about in retrospect?
Oh, I have the answer to this.
I figured you might.
Yes. Well, the secret message in 52 number 37, you took it by taking the first letter of every third word. And it was something like, the secret of 52 is that the multiverse still exists. That's what it spells out. And first of all, the big tip-off in that message is that one of the words in the column begins with the word X, with the letter X, when it shouldn't. And that's immediately a big tip-off, something's going on.
Fair.
But the other thing you have to keep in mind is that from the very beginning, 52 was pitched as a mystery series. After Infinite Crisis, everything was immediately zoomed into 1 year later, where there were all these inexplicable changes. And the way it was initially marketed was, we'll figure out how all these changes came to be in 52.
Right.
The 52 holds the secrets to all of 1 year later, which it actually didn't. It became something much more interesting than that.
Yeah.
Because you got all of the best writers at DC Comics at the time together, and they're like, you know what? Let's do something way cooler than that. And that's what they did. But this was the mid 2000s, where Lost was the biggest show in the world, and everybody was playing like ARGs to promote like the biggest video games in the world. So everyone was looking for secret messages and stuff. And there's references to that in 52 itself, like Ambush Bug in an early issue calls it out himself.
Yeah.
So people were there looking for clues. So when you get this paragraph at the end of an issue, which is just like worded in a way that no human would ever possibly speak, of course people are searching for messages. And not only was it not really a big revelation, not only did people figure it out at the time, but it was something people were already expecting. When you go back to 52 number 1, it starts with images that are evocative of the multiverse in Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's teasing you from the very beginning that something's happening here. One of the themes of Infinite Crisis itself is Alexander Luthor Jr. and Superboy Prime trying to rebuild the multiverse. And with this spinning directly out of that, it's kind of natural that that's the way it was headed.
The craziest part, I think, to me about 52 is that, again, it became a much more interesting thing than its original conception. But the opening kind of panels are those things that make you think of the multiverse, but you kind of don't visit it again until like the last 2 issues.
Yeah, they totally forget about it.
And that's it. Like the fact that that's the secret, like in the secret message, is like, it's almost like they forgot. I mean, they didn't, but it's almost like they didn't. They were like, we got 2 issues left.
Like, oh yeah, let's
bring back Mr. Mind.
Let's do that thing Didio wanted us to do at the beginning. And you can sense that Dan was kind of upset about that when he picked up Countdown and called it 52 done right. Yeah. Like he wasn't very happy with it.
Wow, Didio doing something shitty like that. I'm so surprised.
I won't comment on that. But the fact is, when you got all these writers together and they said, well, the thing about this year, the most interesting part of it is that Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman aren't here.
Yes.
So rather than trying to fill in all these weird left turns from 1 year later, let's really explore that. What's a world like without Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman? And the panel in 52 number 1 that made me a DC fan for the rest of my life is that 9-panel grid where you see the question slowly peel the bat signal off of the spotlight on the GCPD and spray paints a backwards question mark on there. It's like everything you know about Gotham is going to change. The world is bigger than Batman, and that starts now.
Yeah, totally. And just because, have you read any of 52?
I've some, but not.
Yeah. So the 4 writers that Alex mentioned, the biggest writers that they had access to at the time:
Morrison, Wade, Rucka, Giffen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Giffen did the breakouts.
He did the breakdowns,
and then Johns is also in.
And then Johns too.
Yeah, it is a massive like some of the true all stars of DC.
All-star Superman.
It's funny though. I mean, you can even sort of tell the moments. For the most part, you can tell the moments where Morrison jumps in.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Is that clear?
They kind of all wrote it together a little bit more. But
there's bleeding, but you can tell the Rucka stuff easily. You can tell the Morrison stuff. You can tell the John stuff.
Yeah.
Of course. That's amazing. All right, let's go to the next question.
Okay, let's do it.
From our favorite religious representative.
Oh, Chris Chan.
That's right. The one and only Chris Chan, who asks, rank the 4 storylines from best to worst and explain your choices.
So, roughly the four storylines here.
Hold on. There are not 4 storylines in 52. There are 7 storylines in 52.
Yeah, there aren't. I was going to try and smush them into 4.
I have counted.
I was going to try and smush them a bit. So the big ones. You get the Ralph Dibny elongated man looking into, the cult of resurrection and trying to bring back his wife Sue.
The worst one, yes.
You get Black Adam finding like love and family, trying to turn over a new leaf and be a better man, only to have
Maybe
that
the
kind of
best
crashing
one.
down.
Yeah, that's the real heart of the series there.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have the religion of crime and the investigation of the original question, Vic Sage, with Renee Montoya, and the introduction of Kate Kane, Batwoman.
Oh yeah, that's 3.
That's 3. And then the fourth one, I guess, is your sort of, I guess it's the Booster one. It's kind of the one about Booster and the no, see, there's too many, because you also have Booster is it's him and Supernova, and it's about him grappling with whether or not he's being the real hero, and then it circles back to him saving the multiverse from Mr. Mind, which connects it back to Savannah, which kind of connects it to Black Adam. But in the meantime, there's also Intergang, who's behind the religion of crime, are kidnapping scientists and bringing them to Oolong Island to make
the Oolong Island storyline, which is the pure Grant Morrison story.
Yeah, to make
and also
weapons of mass destruction.
Also completely stolen from the back matter of Watchmen.
Yes, yeah, exactly. To make them make weapons of mass destruction, which they then use against Black Adam. So that ties those together. And and then there's also the Adam Strange, Animal Man, Starfire, Pope Lobo storyline out in space that introduces Lady Styx.
You haven't mentioned my favorite one.
Oh God, what am I missing?
Steel and the Lex Luthor Everyman project.
Yes, so Steel, and then Luthor finds a way to activate metagenes, and he creates a bunch of superheroes that he can turn off their powers at will.
Fall of the Supermen.
Yeah,
is what they called that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is so much.
That's all of the stories.
Okay.
Yeah,
we sort of touched on it, but let's try to sort them into a bit of a power ranking.
So I would say the top tier stories are the Black Adam story, the Fall of the Superman Everyman story, which I want to talk more about. Personally, I love the Question story because it's very personal to me, getting into that from the show. And once you go back and read the original O'Neill stories, it echoes that in a really beautiful way, but I could see people not appreciating it on their first read. That's one that you gotta read a few times to get what's out of it. The Booster Gold series Booster Gold story is really good, but not as good as those top 3.
No.
So I would put that below those 3. It has its great moments. I really love the idea of a superhero whose secret identity is a less competent superhero.
Yes, because that becomes the whole thing. He's the greatest hero you've never heard of. The only way for him to competently protect the timeline is for no one to think he's capable of doing it, so that no one could stop him.
And that story continues into Jeff Johns' Booster Gold ongoing series, which is, I think, maybe his most underrated arc. I think that's the best Jeff Johns story no one's ever read. Let's see. Below that, the Lost in Space story, which I know Lobo is fun and Starfire is written pretty well. But it doesn't really go much. Like
I think that one might be my least favorite,
really,
of all of them. And even taking the later Countdown to Adventure into account, I think I like it the least.
Wow.
It just feels so
I
want
doesn't
to
go
like it because I like those characters, but it's not part of anything. And I think it really stands out.
Clearly the mission statement of that arc was to expand the cosmic side of the DC universe, and it just didn't succeed at that.
No.
Like, I don't know anybody whose favorite villain is Lady Styx.
Right. Yeah.
Lady Styx fans, get at me. I want to pick your brain.
God, I want to know who they are.
Oolong Island,
thousands of comments.
It's like the Ragman thing.
Yeah. Oolong Island, I kind of rank below that because the whole character of Chang Tzu is kind of racist. It's a little disgusting.
So
they tried to fix
Egg Foo.
They tried to fix it.
Huge part of 52.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why even just let it die on the vine? Why?
Because it's Morrison. He can't let anything die.
Fair.
Morrison can't let anything die on the vine.
Yeah. And they tie in like. They make him Chang Tzu. He doesn't like being called Egg Foo.
I mean, fair,
he doesn't
that
have
in
the
is
racist accent thing like he did in the original things, but it's still like, and he's like this like shifty member of the Great 10, which is China's super team.
And the fact that it's all kind of Watchmen fan fiction rubs me the wrong way. which is something a lot of people try to do. When you try to emulate Alan Moore, you better not miss. And my least favorite storyline of the bunch is the elongated man stuff, because it's complete Cassie Sandsmark character assassination. They make her into this nebbishy wailing over her dead boyfriend, and elongated man trying to kill himself over his dead. It's just more identity crisis, and that's not what I'm there for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that for me kind of redeems it a bit is there's
the ending.
Right near the end, you're like, that's Ralph. There he is. He's been playing the long con.
There is a terrific redemption moment at the very end, but it's still kind of an agonizing journey all the way to that point.
It's tough to watch for sure. Yeah.
But I want to talk more about the Steel story, which is my favorite one. Because even in the name, it's a spiritual sequel to Reign of the Supermen, where you have this world without Superman in it, and who rises in its place. This is kind of like the long-awaited, unanswered question answered of who is the next Superman. And it was Steel the whole time. He was right in front of you. Yeah. Even in those original Reign of the Superman stories, you see all these guys pretending to be Superman, and Steel's out there well, I'm not Superman, but I'm going to do the best I can. And that's who Superman is. Yeah. He's the person who goes out there and does his best with what he's got, who stands up to the oppressors, and he's there fighting Lex Luthor on the front lines. And that fight between him and Lex is just one of the highlights of the whole series.
I think it's also got one of the most chilling Lex Luthor moments too, which is at midnight on New Year's Eve, Luthor has basically developed a way to activate the metagene. And some people he's giving it to for free, some people he's charging, but he's saying he's democratizing superpowers. And there's all of these new superheroes, all these new costume characters flying over Metropolis on New Year's Eve as part of a parade. And at midnight, he just shuts off their powers, and they all fall from the sky and die.
Beautiful.
And it's truly chilling.
It's the most evil thing Lex Luthor's ever done. I love it.
It's a great Lex Luthor moment.
Oh, we haven't even touched on Black Adam.
And the point of the whole thing was to give himself superpowers.
So what was the point of him doing that?
To develop the science and the technology to give himself,
to make himself a Superman.
But how does that work by turning off everybody else's abilities?
He was just using them basically to test it. He would get rid of their powers and he'd be the only one.
What happened was, when he realized the power thing wouldn't work for him, or when he was told by his R&D team that after all this work, in a rage, he shut down everybody else's powers. Yeah. Because if I can't be super, nobody can.
It's such a good Lex Luthor.
And what was wrong with him that he couldn't get the abilities?
Nothing. He didn't have the metagene. No. So he thought.
He did, but the scientists knew what he would be like with powers, and so they were forging documents that said he wasn't compatible.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I will say about the Black Adam story, there would be no Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Black Adam movie without Black Adam's storyline in 52.
Yes.
It's I don't even want to talk about it because I want people to read 52 and see all of that for themselves.
It's maybe one of the best villain, not a villain kind of stories ever, is Black Adam being kind of falling in love and being inspired to turn over a new leaf and not be violent and be more of a hero, and actually
and then being let down.
And then he's let down. And the most heartbreaking part is Isis, the person that's told him enough blood has been spilled, all of this stuff.
That doesn't sound like Isis to me.
Well, in the moment where the character Isis is dying,
Adriana Tomas.
Yeah, she takes it all back. She says, "No, I was wrong. The world is shit. Kill them all. Avenge me." And Black Adam goes nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
She
was so good.
It's so good. There's so many reasons it shouldn't work. It's a goddamn miracle.
Yeah.
What I love about 52 is that the entire the thing about DC Comics is that it's always been collaborative storytelling. It's been all these widely different voices in writing and art and editing just working together, and usually you get this huge mess. You get a big clash of ideas, and that is what happened in 52. It was supposed to be one thing, it became another thing, but all these people working together made something so beautiful, and it's been something it's been kind of a holy grail I've been chasing since 2007.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
All right, let's leave the second question.
Okay.
Listen, this is what happens.
It's a big book.
You put two like DC lore heads in a room, and that's the
Wow.
that's what you get.
I mean, that's the nicest way we can call you guys. Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Rick to the E, who asks, don't you think this storyline would have been more effective if they didn't jump a year ahead in the rest of the comics? Having a storyline without the big three seems undercut by the fact that they're still in concurrent titles.
So we
No.
next question.
Moving on.
So I mean, obviously, the idea of what the series would be morphed over time, it became its own thing. But
Yeah.
you don't think it undercuts having that series by also having the concurrent 1 year later where there is Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman?
No, because part of what makes 52 so great is that it's such a thorough exploration of this world. If you got the entire line of writers putting their own spins on it, you'd end up with something like say Year of the Villain. That's like, sure, all this stuff is going on in the background, but everybody's kind of not addressing it. The fact that it's all being told by the same writers in one room is what made it such a cool story.
Yeah.
And also there's the other thing that it didn't even start as a story about what happens when Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are out of the room. That was one of the many things about 1 year later that was on the table there.
Yeah.
So it really never could have happened that way. Plus, are you really going to take your best-selling characters off of the shelves for an entire year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And and it's not like they were presumed dead and then you're spoiling it by having the 1 year later.
Right.
We always knew they were coming back. Like,
yeah.
Infinite Crisis just sort of ends with them being like sabbatical. Like,
right.
You know, so it was not spoiling anything. I think I agree. I mean, the thing that I wish DC would do more of, especially in the, they're always going to have a ton of Batman books. They sell like hotcakes, right?
Sure.
So they're always
over 50% of the line is Batman books.
So if that means that like we're not going to get a solo book for Vixen and for Constantine and for and then why not make a big kind of sprawling, like, we'll jump in on a story here, we'll jump in. Like, I like anthology books. I like the idea of a book like 52 where there's like a few stories and you sort of hop between groups of characters that otherwise wouldn't support their own thing. Like, I want more of that,
right?
Frankly.
And to that point, I would say the modern 52 would be Tom Taylor's Injustice comics that kind of build that world out of those minor characters.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, with that.
Yeah, there you go, Rick to the E.
Deal with it. Next question.
Well, it's a good question. The answer is no.
Next question comes from Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Ooh.
All three.
I like them.
Who asks, there were a lot of changes to the monthly titles in the 1 year gap that 52 filled in.
Mm-hmm.
What changes did you enjoy the most and which did you enjoy the least?
Oh, geez Louise.
Okay, so this is more of a 1 year later question than a 52 question.
Yeah.
But first of all, the best thing to come out of 1 year later, by far, absolutely no question, is Keith Giffen and John Rogers' Blue Beetle series. One of the best comics DC ever put out.
Yeah.
I just issues 1 to 25, I would hold that up against any run the company's ever put out. Just any DC fan should check that. But you could make an argument that's not really a change because that's a number one.
Right.
Yeah, like Jaime just shows up, I've been missing for a year after he shows up in Infinite Crisis for the first time.
Right.
So with that out, I would say seeing Lady Shiva on the Birds of Prey was really fun.
Yeah.
As the Jade Canary. Mm-hmm. Worst is easy. The villainization of Cassandra Cain, moving on.
Yeah. I don't think I have a worse than that.
Yeah, that you can't top that. That's one of the worst things to ever happen in DC Comics.
I guess it's not the 1 year later thing either, but I just always I go back to that Booster Gold series, but that's a post 52 thing.
Right.
But I really love that Jeff Johns
so
Booster series. I think it's really
so good.
Yeah.
All the stuff with the Killing Joke and Blue Beetle and Gold Star.
Yeah, I mean, seeing him with this sort of new purpose, but
Yeah.
and this very specific like hook, which is that he'll save the day and no one can know.
Right.
And that's like it's such a good little story conceit, and they
Like,
do
if
a
that-
really good
yeah.
job of the idea of like there's like fluid time, go back and fix this, and then there's like concrete time, you can't save Ted.
Mhm.
It's like
Fluid time. I'm all about that.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think you would like it though. I mean, you like Booster anyway.
Yeah, I love Booster.
I think you would dig that series. Yeah.
That
Mhm.
rules.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right. Let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now
Oh,
we're
boy.
going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're
Yeah.
jazzing out, baby.
It's such a catchy song, you can't help.
I
but
know.
Get it.
I also put a lot of gin in that drink.
I know. This is a lot.
All right. The first and only question from Instagram
Okay.
comes from Jack Stonewall.
Ooh, coolest name on Instagram.
Parents, hide your children. Jack Stonewall.
Jack Stonewall sounds like a Wildstorm character.
Yeah, I was about to say definitely a Jim Lee guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he was in like The Adventures of Max Faraday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it sounds about vanilla enough. All right.
I love it.
Jack Stonewall asks, 52 is my all-time favorite run of comics.
Yeah, boy.
Other than Elongated Man, who else did you think could be as underestimated but still be able to trick the devil?
Right. So this is the redemption moment we talked about in the Elongated Man story is
The best and only good part of that story.
which is for the longest time you think he's being accompanied by the helmet of fate, and he's
Mhm.
trying to like learn some magic and learn how magic works so he can bring Sue back from the dead.
Yeah.
Right.
The big reveal is that it was Felix Faust the whole time, and it was a nefarious evil plot. But Ralph has learned enough magic that he makes this binding spell, and he traps Faust and Neron in the Tower of Fate, even as he is killed. And he's the only one that can release the spell, so it traps them in there, and they had killed him, so they can't get out. It's a great little
Wow.
final moment for Ralph Dibny, if not a sad one.
Okay, so the question is I'm not saying Vic Sage, I'm saying the lowercase q question.
Yes.
Is an underrated character who can get away with like high level deception and trickery.
Yeah, like who could outsmart the devil, who could manipulate the cosmic powers.
I mean, the person who fills that role in the DC universe now is John Constantine. He's the one you always
Yes.
go to
Oh,
as
yeah.
the bastard who tricks everybody. But for like more underrated characters,
I feel like Bobo, Detective Chimp, kind of serves that role in the Shadow Pact and in Day of Vengeance.
Yes.
He's kind of that sort of look over there, ha, you didn't think of this kind of guy.
Yeah, like Bobo kind of stands in for John Constantine when they couldn't use John Constantine.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
he was the Willoughby Kipling of that series.
Yeah, that's right.
What about a little sleight of hand, some Zatanna maybe?
Zatanna's so powerful, though. Do you think it's underrated to take on like a demon?
I feel like Zatanna's still pretty underrated.
She's certainly underused.
Yes.
She does have a great moment at the end of the last arc of Ram V's, just Ram the Fifth. However, is it Ram V or Ram the Fifth? I don't know.
I've been calling him Ram V, but I might be wrong.
I think it's Ram the Fifth. Let's just say Ram.
Yeah.
So there's a great moment at the end of Ram's Justice League Dark run where Zatanna is the one who finally tricks the Upside Down Man into giving up his power. So that might be a good answer, actually.
Yeah.
That she was able to do what Constantine couldn't.
Because Upside Down Man is like this insane cosmic sort of power. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, booyah.
Yes, Zatanna's in there. Okay.
I'll give you that one.
So we got Constantine, Bobo, Zatanna.
We're building a JLD here.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like it.
That's great. All right. With that, let's leave Instagram and head on over to the email.
Check the email.
I hope it's from a female. Oh,
Any Strong Bad fans?
Dear Dr. DC, how do you check emails with boxing gloves on?
Thank you.
So much majesty with this email. All right. This email comes from Paul C. Run, Paul C. Run. Sea Dog Run.
Oh,
Run,
I
dog,
see.
Run.
Yeah.
Anyways, Paul C. asks, at the end of Infinite Crisis, the Trinity to go away to reset themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman goes to Nanda Parbat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bats goes on a spiritual journey,
Mhm.
but Clark stays in Metropolis and gets fired from the planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other two were elsewhere. But isn't it bad that he doesn't even become Superman when Black Adam goes on a rampage and 2 million Bialians die? How does he sleep at night letting that happen?
Well, I think you missed a big part of the series. The Superman lost his powers at the end of Infinite Crisis. He couldn't do anything for a year. That was the whole point.
Couldn't he, though? Couldn't he use something?
Batman and Wonder Woman went on a willing sabbatical.
Yes.
Superman was like, well, I've lost my powers. Let me be Clark Kent for a year.
And then he couldn't even do that because he got fired.
Right.
Well, the funny thing about him being fired is, like, even Perry was saying, it's like, you know, like, you used to get me all these exclusives, and now Superman's gone. And I realized the stories just fell into your lap, and it's kind of like it's like the Peter Parker Spider-Man thing, where you're like, yeah, like, you're maybe not actually great at the job. You're just great because you've got the inside scoop. I mean, I like a Clark who is a good journalist, but it's a really funny moment, I think.
But also, who's that dumb to say that and then not realize that he was Superman?
Yeah. Man, Clark's been a really bad reporter since Superman disappeared. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not like Supes was still, like, bench pressing moons and then was ignoring world affairs.
Right.
He couldn't really do anything about it. If anything,
he could have done something.
He could have reported the truth.
He wrote a story about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not quite as bad as it looks or seems.
Right.
He wasn't just on the sidelines. It is kind of neat, though. Frankly, like, in 52, even the other main Justice Leaguers, people you would consider to be primary Justice Leaguers, are pretty sidelined. You barely see Martian Manhunter, but he's been on this sort of side quest to take out Checkmate. And then you basically don't really check in with the Flash, particularly because it's Jake Garrick is the only one with speed anymore. And he's mostly with the JSA. We see some Green Lantern action, but not a ton. Most of the other, and Aquaman is crazy at the bottom of the ocean.
He kind of sort of died and became like the dweller of the depths. And there was that whole Arthur Joseph Curry thing, but it's not really part of 52. It was supposed to be part of 52. All this random shit was supposed to be part of 52, but they decided to do something else. And I'm really happy they did. Yeah.
But all the other kind of main leaguers are absent. So in a way, you're not only dealing really with the absence of the Trinity, you're dealing with the Big Seven gone, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I don't know. I think it's a little bit more interesting, but it's always framed as just the Trinity went away, but it's actually a lot bigger than that. Yeah. Wow. There's no league. There's even in 52, there's like it's Firehawk, I think, tries to start up a new JLA and it goes horribly.
Yeah, Super Chief is there. It's they have to recruit Ambush Bug. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yikes. All right. Well, let's leave email and head on over to Reddit,
where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. We're going all over the internet globe, baby. First and only question from Reddit comes from MadSeb77,
all right,
who asks, DC took a gamble with this story, and in my opinion, they achieved something great, showcasing other great characters and making Booster Gold a legit staple of the DC lore.
Oh, yes.
Do you think this is something that should be reproduced within the new DC Infinite Frontier at some point to tell a specific story with the same goal?
I mean, yeah, why not?
It's kind of surprising that doesn't seem to be on the table. It feels like
they want crisis level events, but maybe not like something.
You don't want
it
after every crisis, but this feels like the right kind of crisis to then say, like, we should take a look at a few different corners and just see where it's going. Let's do another weekly series.
Well, the thing is, they tried to do it immediately after 52, and I've been kind of avoiding talking about this, but right after 52, you have this series called Countdown.
Yeah.
Where they try to do the same thing with a whole bunch of other C-list characters, but
Does this count down to Infinite Crisis?
Yes.
Countdown.
It was Countdown to Final
Countdown
Crisis.
to Final Crisis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the issues were numbered backwards, and like Mary Marvel was a big part of it, and Trickster and Pied Piper were a big part of it, and Jason Todd, Kyle Rayner, and Donna Troy were a big part of it.
Yeah.
And on paper, it was an interesting idea, but like it just proved what a miracle 52 was. That like all these different confluent factors came together to tell like not just one great story, but like 4 or 5 really great stories.
I will say
one good one and one bad one.
I will say it's certainly nowhere near the level of 52, so I don't want it to come off that way. But a weekly series that has warmed on me a lot since it came out, that I think gets some of the structural pieces right about hopping between some different characters. I'm taking bets on
what you're about to say. Do
you want to call it? I think you probably can guess.
Oh, I think you're going to say Kurt Busiek's Trinity.
No, actually, I was going to say Future's End.
Oh wow!
Really?
It's not as good, but like I actually think better than most of the other weekly series. It does a good job of sort of going from this story and then like the structural balancing act. I think is there, even if the story's not as compelling. Like I think the pieces of what make like a weekly with weird characters work are there. They just didn't have quite the story with the same sort of engine to as 52. But I think it's there. Future's End has really warmed on me over time. I think at the time I was like, I'm reading it because I want all the issues.
Yeah.
But like, I've gone back and read it, and
the one that
I certainly like it more than I remember liking it.
Yeah, I feel that way about Trinity. That was Kurt Busiek. What if we did 52 issues, but it was about Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman?
Right.
And like it became this really
then it's
mythological
a weekly, and you're in the money.
Right. And like at the time I was like, give me a break. But like it really does some interesting things with those characters and what they represent in that universe. And you know, Kurt Busiek's the man. He did Creature of the Night. He did Secret Identity. He's Astro City. And he brings that to Trinity. You just got to kind of leave your preconceptions at the door and talk about who are these people.
Man, I got to get into Astro City. We've been talking about it a bunch lately.
It's come up in the last 2 or 3 episodes.
And now I'm like,
Astro City rules, dude.
Should go back to Astro City.
I've got one issue. I think that might be on my next month.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing: it might not even count as a DC comic anymore, so it might be beyond.
Oh no! Really?
They're shopping for other publishers.
Oh man, what a disappointment.
Yeah. Or you could get on it right now before it officially jumps ship.
That's how I win.
We can wave at it when it pulls away from the dot.
Exactly. A farewell to Astro City.
Yeah, that's right.
From England and New York, what could go wrong? All right. With that, we're going to our final platform.
Okay.
Which means we're leaving Reddit and we're heading it over to the Discord.
Oh shoot! I didn't pick a classic rock song
every time. Come on. You got it. Let's go. Now.
Every dog's got it scored.
Every dog.
I know I'm supposed to pick a different song every time. I really need to remember to do it.
You have one job. Recording. It's really easy.
Yeah.
God, it's all you have to do for this podcast.
And just read everything.
Yeah, that's it. First question comes from Flying Fox 1089, who asks, who are the Great 10?
Oh, this is a fun one.
Well, there's 9 of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's Bad at Math Man.
There's Accomplished Perfect Physician. There's August General in Iron. There's Mother of Champions. There's you got me after that. I think the Yeti's one of them.
There's the Yeti. There's Shaolin Robot.
Yeah, Shaolin Robot.
There's the guy that can make 7 of himself. There's the
brothers.
He might just be called 7 Brothers or something like that. There's the Immortal Man in Darkness who has like a sort of like kind of alien kind of magic jet that can also multiply and stuff.
Sure. The thing about the Great 10 is that they're a less cool version of Keenan Kong and the Justice League of China.
Yeah, they were like the original sort of China
Yeah.
super team, which now has sort of been like, technically they still exist, but they've
Yeah.
been sort of superseded by the Justice League of China, which
Right.
has like actual analogs to Superman, Flash,
yeah,
Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
yeah.
And like actual good writing, which
Yes,
is the other thing.
and that, and
Maybe
that.
they're not the not so great 10.
Yeah, but the thing I was alluding to earlier is that one of the many spin-offs off of 52 was a Great 10 series.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be that each issue would profile a different member of the team.
Oh,
But
cool.
the sales were so bad that it got canceled after 9 issues.
Oh
So
my god.
The Great 10 is only 9 issues long.
Yeah.
That's very
Technically, in 52, they revealed that Chang Tzu, aka Egg Fu,
Right.
part of
is
the
one
great,
of the Great
is
10.
part of the Great 10, and that that implicates then China and the Great 10 with Intergang, which then implicates them against Black Adam, which is
Yeah.
part of the World War III kind of thing that
Jeez.
Yes.
that happened.
Who was in Footloose with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, but that's the Great 10. I mean, the last reference I've seen to the Great 10 in a comic is probably Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock.
Where they're talking about the different super teams of different
Yeah.
countries
Yeah, they
in
exist
the
too.
superhuman arms race. I would still kind of like to see them, but it would be interesting to see like what is the tension between like this original team of like People's Republic heroes
They
and then
touch
the
on
new
that.
sort of
They
Justice
touch
League.
on that in Yang's New Superman, which
Yeah.
is one of the 2 best books of the Rebirth line. That
it's really
Deathstroke.
good. Yeah.
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 Wow. All right. Next question comes from We've Only Just Dan Dunn, who asks, if you could pick a massive 52 style creative team and do a similar story,
Ooh.
what creators would you use and what type of story slash characters?
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. Number 1 with a bullet, Neil Gaiman.
Oh,
yeah,
Number
okay.
2, Jeff Lemire. Gotta be on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you better believe this is like a magic heavy book, baby.
Yeah. baby.
Gene Luen Yang, speaking of New Superman, gotta get him on there.
Yeah.
And we got space for 1 or 2 more. Who you got?
I think I would
I want Gail Simone.
Gail Simone. I think I would throw like do you know what? I think I would throw like Mariko Tamaki in there, I think.
Oh.
I would say Star on the Rise, Vita Ayala is doing some
Yeah.
really amazing stuff, and I would love to see them what they do mixing up this huge event series, because
Yeah.
they do a lot of those like quarterly DC anthology books, and pretty much everything they do in there is one of the best stories in the series. I'm really looking forward to their Static that was just announced.
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
think we're actually being a little bit more experimental with our picks than what 52 was, right? You know, because we're not talking about like we're not talking about like James Tynion or like
Right.
people like that who are kind of like anchor mainstay
No,
kind of
James
creators.
Tynion got his chance. He did Batman Eternal. He did Batman and Robin Eternal. Let's get somebody else on there.
Totally agree.
You'd probably get
Totally
like
agree.
Tom King.
Right.
I mean, certainly for art, I would want to see some Mitch Gerrard's
Yeah.
Clayman.
I don't think Tom King would ever agree to do a weekly series.
No,
No, definitely
seems,
not.
That seems like the opposite of
Yeah, I
his
think that would
mode.
would literally murder him.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so then I guess with kind of the creators that we've mentioned,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what type of we don't have to break 52 issues worth of story, but like what kind of things would
I
you
like-
maybe want to explore? What
I like your
what
magic
corners?
thing. I think I like a magic based
Yeah.
story is something that.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, exploring the magic side of the DC universe would be cool.
Yeah.
Man,
which means I want my Zatanna in there.
I think I want a Blue Devil through line. I don't get enough Blue Devil. I want Blue Devil.
Ragman, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, Bokelman will like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, I like that a lot. Yeah, Zatanna, you get Blue Devil, maybe Dr. Fate's in there.
Are we getting the Shadow Pack back together?
That might be it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I like that.
Oh man.
I could go for that.
I'd watch the hell out.
Yeah, and I think you have to, like 52 did. I think you have to balance that with like at least one very opposite story to that.
Yeah.
Like,
How about somebody finally tells a good cyborg story? That would be nice.
oh yes, please. I would love that.
That'd be great.
Actually, that would be great. Do you know who's like a weird bridge just between magic and like science, like Cyborg, just in terms of
Blue Beetle?
the sort of stories they've been put in, not necessarily because it works as a character, is Luke Fox as Batwing. For a while they kept putting him like in Batman and Robin Eternal. He spends most of his time with Corrigan, with the Spectre.
Wow.
They've kind of put him there where I would assume Batwoman should go.
Yeah.
But they put him there, I think, because he was this tech heavy kind of bat where he has like an armor thing and a, AI and all that kind of stuff.
And they play with that more in Tynan's Detective Comics, where they put him opposite Jean-Paul Valley and everything he's got going on with the Order of Saint Dumas. Yeah. And I'd like to see more of that partnership. That's fun.
Yeah. I think that would be a cool one. Yeah.
I like that Clint Eastwood documentary about Jean-Paul Valley. That's a Ricky Valley joke, if anybody doesn't know.
Very nice.
Final question comes from Ryan P.
All right.
Who asks, what do you think of the sequels / spin-offs of 52, such as World War III, which shows in more detail what Black Adam did, or The Four Horsemen, which features the Trinity and Snapper Car?
Yeah, and there's like Countdown to Adventure and some stuff like that.
Okay.
Tell me a story, Alex.
World War III is a big old apology. All that is we're sorry if you bought this series. If you want to know more about 1 year later, we'll fit as much as we can into this right here.
That's an impeccable impression, by the way.
Yeah, that's my impression of DC editorial. That's what that is. Four Horsemen is pretty grisly, but kind of a fun, like the Trinity's back and they're on the front lines. It was exactly what it needed to be. Right. And the best spin-off of 52 was the Jeff Johns Booster Gold, which we talked about.
Yeah.
I liked all of the 5 books of blood stuff with Renee Montoya, seeing her carry on Vic Sage's quest until you eventually see in Final Crisis that it all led up to Vandal Savage being behind everything all along, which is a very questioned, like Illuminati style turn.
Yeah.
That was cool. The Infinity Inc. spinoff, I don't think that really went anywhere interesting. What else was there?
Oh God. Countdown to Adventure.
Sure.
Which again, like they sort of half did a Lady Styx thing, but then they made it back to Earth and then they had to go back out because Lady Styx is back. Like
was the weird in that?
Oh God.
I think the weird
was in that. Wow.
Countdown to Adventure is one of those books where I bought because I was like, I love these characters. I kind of remember this from 52. And it took me like 5 months to read it because I'd read like a few pages and I'd be like, nah.
Yeah.
It didn't hook me. I think my favorite is probably the Question, Batwoman.
Oh yeah.
Cult of Crime, all the way up to Final Crisis Revelations. I think that's my shit. Other than Booster Gold, that's my shit out of 52.
I know the one we're forgetting, Black Adam: The Dark Age.
Oh yes,
which is a really fun series.
And he finds his
magic word.
Yeah, a piece that happens at the end of 52 to stop Black Adam. Captain Marvel, who is now Keeper of the Rock of Eternity because the wizard's gone.
Yeah, he becomes Shazam, like the actual Shazam.
He tries to get the Egyptian gods to rescind their power from Black Adam, and they won't. So what he does is he calls down his own lightning, changes Black Adam back, and he changes Adam's magic word. So he can't call down the lightning, and he says he'll never guess it. And at the end of 52, you see him just going like Batson, Marvel, Captain Marvel, Black Adam, Isis. He's just like saying words to try and find it. And in that Black Adam, the Dark Age, he walks into like a random diner and he says like chocolate egg cream, and the lightning comes down. And he gets his powers back.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So I would say,
my God.
Yeah. That's one of the best spinoffs. Yeah. Absolutely. If you want more Black Adam, that's where to go next.
Yeah, that's about him trying to resurrect
ISIS.
And it brings it kind of brings some of that stuff kind of full circle.
That's insane. I love that.
I think you would like a lot of this stuff from 52. I think it's like in your alley of I think you would dig it.
Wow. Made me a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, with that was the last question, but we are not done because we have everyone's favorite game. Time to play. Can you guess the name of the character based on how someone who does not read comic books describes that character to us?
Oh boy.
So I send a photo of a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them.
Right.
She sends back 4 clues describing what she sees.
All right.
And
Prince
I know
Ramen.
it, but neither of you do.
You can
Okay.
guess as many times as you want.
Yeah.
You can wait for more clues. There's no wrong way to play.
Yeah.
Uh,
Except for if you don't answer it correctly. Then you lose. Are you ready to play, Alex?
I'm ready.
I'm very excited for this. This might be the most hypercharged version of this game we've ever played.
Oh man, you could cut the tension with a knife.
I know. All right. 4 clues. First clue. And it goes like this. Needs some serious eye cream for those wrinkles.
Granny goodness.
No.
Felix Faust?
No.
That was too easy. I was low hanging fruit. I shouldn't have gotten
no,
that.
no, it's okay.
All right.
Ready for clue?
Do we want another clue?
Give me another clue.
All right. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Pointy teeth.
Wrinkles, pointy teeth. I'm still thinking New Gods, like Desaad, Bernadette.
No.
One of those two guys.
No.
I'm
man.
thinking it's not real wrinkles. I'm thinking you went with Chang Tzu.
No, that would have
went
been really
egg
good.
fruit.
I didn't know. I
okay.
didn't. That would have been really
Shoot.
good. I like that you thought that, and I wish that
I'm also trying to keep it 52 related, which is not necessarily what's happening.
That's
here.
not what
you
I
just
did.
picked
at
a
all.
random.
I just picked a
character.
random
I shouldn't
one.
be
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't read 52. He doesn't even know what
Yeah.
Shanks looks like.
He's got Google.
I know.
Okay.
Are you ready for clue number 3?
Yeah,
All
okay.
right, I'm ready.
Tiny arms and legs.
Well,
Tiny arms and legs.
did you show her MODOK? MODOK's
No.
not a DC character.
No.
Just side
You
note.
cheater.
Side note, though, can't wait to watch that like stop motion MODOK with Patton Oswalt.
Sure, I like it.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Okay, so sorry, he's got pointy teeth,
Pointy teeth,
wrinkles,
wrinkles, tiny arms, tiny legs.
tiny arms, tiny legs.
Can you tell me if it's Jack Kirby character?
It's not.
Okay, it's not Jack Kirby. I keep thinking about Jack Kirby.
Yeah, so okay, all right, hang on.
And we just did a Kirby episode yesterday, so I'm not going to do it today.
Is it Hector Hammond?
It is not.
Pointy teeth, wrinkles, tiny arms and legs.
Oh, well, I'm really proud of this one. It's actually not that deep of a cut either, I'll be fair.
Wow.
Oh, that makes me feel worse.
Yeah.
Like, it's a
give us
deep cut, but it's not that deep.
Give us a clue. Give us clue.
Yeah, I need
4.
another clue.
The final clue, which I think this will be the one to give it away.
Okay.
The final clue is, and you have to hold off. I want to let
Yeah,
Alex
of course,
can
yeah.
go for it first. Evil grumpy baseball.
Evil grumpy baseball. Evil grumpy base. Oh, it's Zillia Zox.
That's right.
Damn
it's
it.
Zillia
Oh.
Socks.
Son of a bitch. Damn it.
Voiced by the great Tom Kenny in Green Lantern the Animated Series.
That's right.
Damn
the
it.
one and only.
That's a good one.
Zillia Socks.
That is a good one.
Nice. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Well
that
done.
Was, that was.
I like that.
That was great. Alex, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course, this was the most fun I've had all week. Anytime you need somebody to come by, you know where to find me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried now.
No, this
that
is great.
You
This
found
is
the
great.
perfect
Yeah,
replacement.
this is awesome. Yeah. This is great.
No, thank you so much. That was a ton of fun. Yeah.
Tell people where they can find all of your stuff that's going on right now.
You can find my stuff at dccomics.com. I just put out a list of every single black superhero to patrol Gotham City.
Ooh.
So you can find that
Right.
there. Every Tuesday, I host trivia at the DC community at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can go there to win an exclusive Riddler community badge. And you can submit questions to my Ask the Question column by searching for Hub City Question. That's my online moniker at the DC Universe community.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
That's terrific. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. It was a great excuse to reread 52.
Yes, absolutely. And we would love to hear from you residents. If you want to send us a question maybe for a future episode, or you just want to chat with us online, all you have to do is reach out to us through our various social media platforms like our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Of course, our email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Jump on that subreddit,
r/Dr_DC.
The doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
And of course, we have our website,
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
We want those 5-star reviews. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
And Daddy wants
Review
reviews.
us.
Yummy. Of course, if you want even more content for a small fee, you can get access to our Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1, $5, $7 level. There's bonus episodes. We've got the Doc Score Discord server. There's all sorts of fun stuff happening over there.
Absolutely. And finally, if you are tired of this nerd comic book bullshit
and you want different nerd bullshit,
we have a whole other podcast.
Yeah, Ghost Facers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of Supernatural. We're into season 2 now. We talk about monster lore. We talk about behind the scenes stuff. It's a ton of fun.
Just like a couple of cool guys just being on the internet.
We're so cool.
All right, Alex, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.